there, my name is Kelly Dale with Off the Beaded Path, and this is your Must Know Monday for Monday, February 3rd, 2020. Wow, January flew by. It's so hard to believe that it's the first Monday in February. Technically, this project goes with the Birthstone series from January, but it's okay because it's still fabulous. So today we're going to conclude that Birthstone series, and I'm going to be showing you how to do a bracelet to go with the ring and the earrings that I've been showing you the last 2 weeks. So with that being said, let's go ahead and look at what we need so we can get started. Okay, so here is the Birthstone bracelet that I want to show you how to make today. It's a really pretty bracelet. I actually did, when I tested this at my store, the class loved it. So this is one version of the bracelet. And then I wanted to show you another version. I actually wanted to make a necklace, wanted to try this out as a necklace, and it just wasn't working. So I kept on. And I decided, well, let's make it into a wrap bracelet. So as you can see, it was really pretty as like a double wrap bracelet as well. So you do have options on the piece. It can be a single or you could make it a double wrap, whatever you kind of wanted to do. Now to make this bracelet, I'm going to go ahead and pull my little sheet here so you can see. You are going to need 12 to 15 3.2 millimeter Montes, just like the last 2 weeks. And you can see they are here in between those fire polish beads. This one is about a 7 1/4, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 3.2s to it. So you'll need 12 to 15, depending on the size you want. You're going to need 11 to 14 6 millimeter fire polish beads, so that's the red ones, and then my color here. You're going to need 4 grams of a size 11 seed bead, and today I'm using the Perma-Finish Galvanized Auburn Toho. And so basically everywhere you see the black here on this one is my 11s. You are going to need 1.5 grams of a size 15 seed bead. I'm going to be using bronze today. For this project, I used the nickel, just like I've used with this same color scheme last 2 weeks. You're going to need a clasp. You're going to need a size 12 needle. And then, just like the last 2 weeks, I really highly suggest this 4-pound fire line. Or you can use your KO thread, your 1G thread, whatever, but make sure the 4-pound fire line kind of works the best out of everything. So I've got my needle threaded with a comfortable length of thread. You're going to need about 2 yards or so. And then I have my clasp. Now the good thing about this toggle that I want to use, the toggle loop is already there. You can see, and you can see how it is. So I don't have to add any kind of jump rings or split rings or anything to this for it to lay right on my bracelet. For the toggle bar, technically the loop is laying correctly the way I want it to. But I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of jump rings, or you can do split rings, because I want to give it enough room to be able to get into the toggle loop from my beadwork. So that is why I'm going to use this. So that is what you are going to need to get started with your project. Okay, so we're going to be starting out with our size 11 seed beads, and I'm going to thread on 8 of these beads. And I'm going to double check real quick that I've got 8 here. 3, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now, we want to bring these beads down. I'm going to leave just a little short tail here. And then I'm going to go back through all 8 beads again. Then pull this through. I'm going to tie these 2 threads together now. Okay, now that I've got them tied, we're ready to start working. So, just like I did the earrings last week, I'm going to go ahead and add my clasp, or my little loop here at the end for my clasp. So I'm going to go through 2 beads next to the knot, and I'm going to go ahead and pull these through. I'm going to go ahead and add the loop part of my clasp. So I'm going to pick up 3 11s, my clasp, and 3 11s. My thread is coming out of the top of these 2 size 11 seed beads. So I'm going to go right back up through those same 2 beads again to form a little circle or a right angle weave box, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so I've got my clasp completely attached. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to reinforce this clasp by going through my 3 11s, my clasp, my 3 11s, and then the 2 that I'm coming out of. Now, if you want to, you can definitely go ahead and reinforce it again. You can pretty much reinforce it however many times you would like. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do it one more time. Better to be safe than sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and reinforce. All right. Now, I'm just going to flip my beadwork here so I can hang on to that toggle. And I'm going to see if I can zoom in just a little bit here. There we go. Okay, so you will see that my thread is coming out. I'm going to call these connection beads, okay? My thread is coming out of my 2 connector beads here. So I'm going to pick up a 15, a Monty, and if I can get it here, and a 15. So 15, Monty, and 15. So I'm going to come across to these 2 11s on this side, and I want to go through those beads so that my beadwork will lay at a diagonal like this. So I'm going to come across to these 2 beads right here, and I'm going to come up through those beads so that way when I actually pull the thread, you'll see that they will lay at a diagonal over the beadwork, and that's exactly what I want. I'm going to pick up 1 15. I'm going to go through the other hole of the Monty. So I'm just going to go straight through that other hole there. I'm going to hold the Monty in place as I pull the thread so that way nothing loosens up. And then I'm going to pick up 1 more 15. And I've got to go through my 2 connector beads here again to finish out this X shape that I've created. So I go through my 2 connector beads. I'm going to go up through them, so that now you'll see I have a 15 in my 4 corners and a Monty here in the middle. So I need to be coming out of these 2 beads over here. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go through the 2 11s here at the top. Get a hold of it there we go. Go through those. And then I'm going to come down through these 2 11s here. So what's going to happen is these 2 11s that I'm coming out of right now are going to be my new connector beads. Okay, that's what I'm going to call those 2 beads. So I'm going to pick up 2 11s, a 6 millimeter, and 2 11s. I want to make a circle, so I'm going to come back down through those same 2 beads so that it will make a little circle, and you will see it pops my bead in just like this. I'm going to continue on through the 2 11s, and then I'm going to go through that 6 millimeter again. So through the 2 11s and then straight up through the 6 millimeter. Okay, grab me a few 11s here. Okay, so I'm going to pick up 6 11s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I want these beads to kind of lay around this side of my 6mm. So I'm going to come around and I'm going to come back through the same 6mm again, so that when I pull the thread and of course get everything caught on it, you'll see that now all the 11s I just added lay on the other side of my piece. Now you want to go through the 6 beads that you just added one more time. This is going to help to reinforce those, but also it's going to help us get into position for what we need to do next. So I'm going to go ahead and go through those. And you'll see that my 6mm got a little crooked, and that's okay. You can straighten that little guy back up, no worries. So now I'm going to pick up 3 11s. Got my 3 11s here. Okay, I'm going to skip my space here, and I'm going to come through the 6 11s that I have on this side. So go through there, up through here. Okay, now I'm going to do 3 more 11s. I'm going to skip the space, and I'm going to pull this down so that you can see it here. These 3 11s down here are what I added in the previous step. So I'm going to go through my 6 beads here on the side, and then the first bead of that set of 3. So once I stitch through, I'm going to come through 7 beads so that I'm coming out of that first bead of the set of 3. So I'm going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, now we're going to skip 1 bead, and I'm going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 beads. And again, if I pull this up here so that you can see it, you can see there's the 3 beads I added. So I'm skipping 1, and I'm going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then that first bead of the set of 3 will be the 8th bead. So skip, and then I'm going to come straight up through. And when I skip that bead, I'm going to pull the thread so that it pops out just like that. And I'm going to continue up through my 8 beads. Now I'm going to skip 1 bead. I'm going to skip this bead right here, and I'm going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 beads. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Yeah. You see the thread right here at the bottom of my 6mm, and you see it's coming into this bead. This is the bead we want to come out of. So I'm going to skip that 1 bead here at the top, and then I'm going to stitch down through the beadwork. All right. Now, once I'm coming out of that bead, I'm going to pick up 2 15s. I'm going to come up through the 6mm here. And then 2 15s. And if we look closely here at the top, you'll see that my thread is coming into this bead. So that's the bead I want to go into. So I'm going to go, and another way is to count 2 from the top and go through the 3rd one. So this is basically what you're doing is you're working on one side. We're going to completely do one side of this little embellishment, and then we're going to complete the second side of the embellishment. In class, when I actually taught this at my store for the testers, one of the girls was kind of flip-flopping her sides, and it wasn't working out, and that's what we figured out, that she was working one side and then doing you know, like adding this and then adding these two over here. And so it was just really confusing for her. So we're putting the embellishments on this side. Now we're going to work and put them on this side. So I've come through the 11s. I'm going to go through the two 15s here at the bottom. Now I don't go through both of those at once. I go through the 1 and pull it through. And then I'm going to go up through the 1 right below the 6mm, and then the 15 right above the 6mm. Okay, just like that. Pull it straight up the way it's coming out of the bead there. Pick up 1 15. Again, I'm working on this side. Skip 2 at the top, so 1 2, and I'm going to go down through the third one. And again, you can see my thread there, so that's the little telltale sign of that's where I'm going to put the bead. So I'm going to come down through, okay, and again, I have stopped before I did the 2 beads here at the bottom, and you can see my little thread there. This is what we're kind of covering up. So I'm going to pick up that 15. I'm going to go up through the 15 below the 6mm, through the 6mm, and then through the 15 above the 6mm. Pull this through. I'm going to go through the 15 here to the right. And then I'm going to come down through 4 11s. So I'm skipping the top 2. And then I'm going to go through 1, 2, 3, and 4. At this point, it should be pretty tight. If I'm using a tulip needle, I can get through this whole project with 1 needle. If I'm using like a pony needle or a John James or anything like that, I go through 2 to 3 these needles. Alright, so now that you are coming out of these 2 beads right here, you want to make sure that these 2 beads are adjacent to these 2 beads here. So now I call these 2 beads my connecting beads, because these 2 beads are what I'm going to work with. So this time I'm going to pick up 6 11s. Because if you'll remember, on this box I picked up 8, and that was because I made the box. Now I already have 2 beads for my little raw box, so I'm going to add 6 more to make my total 8. So to make a circle, I'm going to come right back down through those same 2 beads again and pull this on through. Now don't skimp on this step. Make sure to reinforce this circle again, because if you don't, you are going to have a loosey-goosey mess, and you are going to get frustrated when you go to add your embellishments. And you notice I'm only do 2 at a time here, and then I'm going to go back down through the 2 that I'm coming out of. My thread is coming out of the bottom here, so I'm going to pick up my 15, my Monty, and my 15. I'm going to take my needle, I'm going to come across to these 2 beads over here. I'm going to come down through those 2 beads so that my beadwork will lay at a diagonal, just like that. Okay. Then I'm going to pick up a 15, and I'm going to go through the other hole of my Monty. I'm going to hold that Monty into place, and I'm going to pull the thread. And now I'm going to pick up another 15, and I'm going to come down through these 2 connection beads again so that it finishes out that X shape. So now you see I have my Monty embellishment, and I need to be coming out of these 2 beads over here. So I'm going to go through the 2 11s here at the bottom. Watch it and that you don't get your thread caught like I just did. Okay. Then I'm going to go up through these 2 11s here on the side. Now these 2 11s become what I call my connecting beads. And at this point, I'm going to work to add another one of these. And basically I'm just going to repeat adding the Monty and the 6mm all the way down until I get the length that I need for the bracelet. Now I'm going to end with the Monty section, so I'm going to keep going on this one so I can show you how to put a clasp on the other end. Okay, so I've been working on the length of my bracelet and I am running out of thread. So I wanted to show you how to add thread and how to finish off this thread. So I'm going to go ahead and take note of where I'm coming out. I'm coming out of the top of the 6mm, and I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go under the thread between the 6mm and the size 11s here on that left hand side of the bead. I'm going to leave a little loop, and I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go back through that loop again and pull the thread. And I'm going to do that one more time. Now I'm going to take this thread and I'm going to stitch it through my beads to try to get rid of this thread. Just be careful that you don't get it caught on anything. Okay, and if you want to, you can certainly put some more little half-hitch knots in it. So right here between these two 11s, I'll go under the thread there between those two beads, leave a little loop, and go through the loop. Now make sure when you pull that thread that it goes in between those beads there where you want it to go. And then I'm going to go ahead and stitch and come out of this top bead here. And then I'm going to get rid of this little excess thread. Okay, now I've already got a needle threaded onto my new piece of thread here. And basically I'm going to come down here between the threads here, between two of my beads. I'm going to pull it through. And I'm going to leave about, I guess about 6 inches. And I'm going to take and I'm going to tie this thread together. And when I pull it, I'm going to make sure that it goes between those beads there that I had went under. And I'm going to go through again. And pull. Now I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to stitch through my beads so that I'm coming out at the exact same spot where my working thread was a minute ago. So now I'm coming out at that spot where my working thread was. I'm going to take the other needle and I'm going to put it on this end to get rid of this thread, and then I'm just going to keep working with my new working thread. Okay, so I have the length here of my bracelet complete and I'm ready to put the clasp on. So I have come out of my connection bead. It's those last two beads here on the end, and I'm going to pick up 3 11s, my clasp, and 3 11s, just like I did at the beginning. So 3, 1, and 3. So currently my thread is coming out of the bottom of those two connector beads. So I'm going to come right back through those same two beads again to make the circle, and you will see that now my clasp is attached. So just like the beginning, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to reinforce this loop several times. Be careful, see how I got the thread caught here. Be careful not to get your thread caught. That is one of the things. You'd hate to get this whole thing done and then realize you got your thread caught there. So, so just go ahead and you will want to reinforce a couple of times, and remember to go through those connection beads. Reinforce this a couple of times, and then you're going to tie off this thread just like I did on the other thread, so that then you will have a complete bracelet. Now you'll see here on this one I used a lobster claw with an extender chain on the end, so you have quite a few options as far as your clasps is concerned. And so that is the Birthstone bracelet. So I hope you enjoyed learning how to make the Birthstone bracelet. We do have the pattern for sale on my website, which is offthebeadedpath as well as kits for this project. So again, check these out at offthebeadedpath. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.